Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Welcome to New Life Live. We are so glad that you're with us today. It's Chris Williams, licensed marriage and family therapist. I have Dr. Alice Benton, licensed psychologist. How you doing?
Raring to go, Chris.
All right, let's do this today. And I also have licensed professional counselor Becky Brown. How you doing today, Becky?
I'm doing good. Hello, Alice. Hello,
Hi,
Chris.
Becky.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm sure you're going to ask me what's on my mind, because I'm going to tell you even if you don't ask me.
Make room. Here we go.
All right. So Becky, let it rip, man. Let's go. Let's hear it.
I am so excited to share, because this is something that's impacting me, and I know it's impacting other people. Have you ever heard the terms infobesity?
I have
or
not.
No, new to me.
Infoxication? How about that word?
Oh, okay.
You know what it is?
I have no idea.
Information overload.
Mm.
And, in the last couple days, we've been hearing about the tragic circumstances from Hurricane Helene.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself just, scrolling and looking, and I wanted to find out, how are they getting help to these people and all of those kind of things. And it just occurred to me, our minds are so overwhelmed with information because of our access to knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes.
we can hear about all the things in the world, but it made me also think about clients that I've had over my career that have obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, they're not exactly the same, except for you can see where the trail of needing to know more can lead to obsessive compulsive disorder. It is an actual diagnosis. 1 to 3% of the population struggle with it. And you may have flippantly said, oh, I'm so OCD about, cleaning my house, or I'm so OCD about the way that I go to the grocery store, or whatever the thing is that you might think that you have a parameter in which you, practice, trying to get to some resolution of that obsession. So when we think about it, it's repetitive behaviors or repetitive thoughts. And believe it or not, there are people that when you struggle with OCD, you are seeking comfort, which seems strange when you think about that, because OCD can be very, very disruptive in someone's life. It can really just impact them in so many ways. For example, you might be checking things. Did I lock the door? Did I turn the lights off? It could be that you're washing your hands repetitively. I've known people that have washed their hands to the point of sores and redness. There is also, cleaning. I also have heard of people who would measure how many rolls of paper towels they would go through in a week because of trying to disinfect everything. And, we may think, well, that is really strange. But listen, your brain is powerful. And when it gets kicked into this kind of a cycle, it can be very distressing for the person who struggles with it. Now, we know that it occurs in the frontal cortex and the basal ganglia. They get kind of tied up in knots in your brain. But the great thing is there are steps and helps that you can have. Some things are cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, could be medication, and it could be that some immersive therapy, where you experience that. But I wanted to talk about this only because I know there's so many people who are struggling with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and sometimes it starts with scrolling. It could be that you started to scroll to get the information and your brain's getting kicked in and you're not recognizing the anxiety that's starting. We can help you get connected with help if OCD is part of your struggle or maybe somebody else's that you love, because it can be very, very harmful to just the way that you live your life. So, I just wanted to tell everybody. I was a little OCD about telling you.
Well, I love it. And that is so helpful. And we're going to be back right after this.
We went to the intimacy in marriage. We were both done.
Intimacy in marriage, I've witnessed at taking people who were done. We give them information they just didn't have. So many people think, I've done everything. I promise you, you haven't done everything. And when you come to intimacy in marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process where you take in the information. You have people around you who understand you, who can validate you. But then here's the biggie. You get to practice what you're learning.
The Intimacy in Marriage Weekend is October 25th through the 27th in Dallas, Texas. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
The transformation, phenomenal. It has transformed our lives so much.
1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. And Becky, you were just talking to us about OCD, and one of the essential resources that we have here at New Life is our call center. And when we say call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, your call most likely goes to a call center. And this is really there to obviously point people in the right direction of information, but it's also there to help people who may be in a current crisis. One of our callers who called into the call center said this. His name is Alan, and his wife had committed suicide. And his son was scheduled for brain surgery 5 days after this. He was losing all of his stuff, his possessions. He was dealing with the police accusing him of possibly being responsible for his wife's death. And so he is in the crisis of all crisis. He calls our call center and he says this: I was greeted by you. You were very kind, and I just poured out my heart. I never felt put down or less than. I had to just stay on the phone and let it all out. You had a way of being there and holding me accountable for myself. You just stayed on the phone with me and made me feel like you cared for me. Now I have a counselor in groups, and instead of being in my struggle, I have a way out. I am looking for reason and purpose and for a way for all of this tragedy to be used for good. Thank you, and God bless you, and thank you, New Life. You know, when our listeners out there, when you support New Life, there are so many different types of ministries that you are supporting, and one of those is our call center and the work that they do and the great people that are at our call centers and helping people like Alan. And you know, Becky, you are very familiar with our call center, and what is some of the ministry that you see them do on a daily basis?
We call them ministry service representatives because they are doing ministry on the front lines. They're the first call that a lot of people make when they're in a struggle, like this caller, this testimony that you just read, Chris. You know, one of the things we know is it's very frustrating to get, a recording or have to punch a bunch of numbers when you're in a crisis, and we can direct people to the help that they need. We can be a listening ear. I know a lot of our ministry representatives are praying with callers. You know, we believe in the power of connection. This is one of our first steps, and that we always refer to it as the 2,000-pound phone. Can be really difficult to pick up and ask for help, but when you do, you'll be greeted with warmth, with insight, with patience, and a way to find help for your need.
You know, the Bible says that no temptation is too great, meaning that God will make a way out for us. And to hear Alan's situation, he was overwhelmed with more than any human can bear. And that's when we need to find God's way out, which is usually through other people. And our call center, ladies and gentlemen, they are experts at figuring the next step and the way out, whether they connect a person with a group, a counselor, the right intensive, the right book. They will get you the resources, and they'll take the time to figure out which is the most accurate fit for you in your circumstance.
You know, this week is National Customer Service Week, and so this is why we're giving just a great shout out and deep gratitude for that ministry service representatives that we have there at the call center. And the truth of the matter is I was just saying before the show started, that I had a situation that I was trying to resolve, and I got one bot after another to a non-resolution. And I mean, how refreshing it is to call a call center and get an actual person. And so, Becky, when are the times and days that people can call our call center?
Well, you can call us. I think it's 8 to 7 Central Time every day, and sometimes on the weekends we have different times available. But we always want you to know that it is okay to call, and I think that's the hardest part for people to realize, that to take a step in the right direction of healing and hope, you got to ask for help. We otherwise we'd be on the phone calling you all day, because we know everybody's struggling with something.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so we just want you to know we're here for you.
Yeah. So again, thank you to all of our ministry service representatives, the hard work that you do, and thank you for financially partnering with us so that we can keep this essential ministry vibrant, well-trained, and moving forward. And the other way that people can connect with us, because again, we are on radio and we're live, and that is fantastic. And in fact, if you want to give us a call, 1-800-229-3000, we would love to connect with you today. But one of the things that you can also do is you can write in, and we love our write-in questions, because not everyone can listen to us or give us a call while we're on the air. And you can do that by going to newlife.com/radio, and there's a chance to submit your questions to us. So in the spirit of that, I want to get to our write-in caller, if that's a thing. I'm going to make it up, and it's going to be a real thing right now. We got a write-in caller. Her name is Sharon. And her question is this: how do I navigate the relationship with my son? He's in his late 40s, divorced because of his own his infidelity or adultery in the marriage. And he continues to see other women who are still married. She says once he was sold out to Jesus and led and encouraged a men's group to walk with integrity in the marriage. And she's just stuck in this situation of like, how now do I relate to my son? How do I navigate this? And so you have an adult son living in active, hurtful sin. And you have, obviously, his mom, and she's asking, what do I do about this?
Well, the first step is, Sharon, you've got to get to a place where you can love and accept him right where he is. One of the challenges of parenting, no matter how old the child is, you have zero control. I mean, you can put in parameters and all that, but someone who has been married and divorced and in his late 40s, he is making choices for his life. And so if you want to connect with him, the last thing you want to do is set up in order for me to be connected with you, you need to stop behaving the way that you're behaving. His behavior is telling you that he's in pain, that he's not really staying connected to the source of his strength from past years. He's probably dealing with hurt that's been untreated. But, Sharon, the best way to lean into that is to love him. And there's a lot of things that you can say. It could be that you just say, I'm praying for you. It could be, how can I help you with, it could be a task. I mean, it doesn't have to be to that, to the issue, but a lot of us have people in our lives that are not living the way that we think that they should live. And the hardest thing is to love them anyway, and hope and pray for that change to occur.
Sharon, additionally, minister to the family he left behind, to his ex-wife, to children if he has them. You know how bruised up their hearts and souls are by his ongoing decisions that he's making. I hope you'll also gather together a team to join together in prayer and to combine it with fasting, because we know that some sin patterns cannot be broken without that combination. And so that just unleashes spiritual power, God's grace, to help him if and when he becomes willing to. And then I want you to look for opportunity to share some bit of truth with him, but to do so through humility. And in that, I want you to think about your own imperfections. Where in your marriage did you fall short? Was there ever a pattern of sexual sin in your life, even if it was on a small level? So be prepared. Look for when God might nudge you to do so, because we're told that we have to hold back those stumbling to the edge. We have to warn those who are in an ongoing sin pattern, being braced that they may very well not receive it, but it is so loving if we can give them humble truth, but surrounded by the love that Becky was talking about. And lastly, I want you to share the Every Man's Battle podcast with your son, because by hearing from other men who have gone through similar patterns but come out the other side of redemption, that may get to him in a way that little else can.
You know, you both bring up something I think is really hard and important. Difficult, challenging, and crucial. One is, how do we love people who behave and believe different than ourselves? And that is a huge challenge that we have. But again, Jesus points the way all the time. Because really, at the end of the day, every person he encountered believed and behaved different than he did.
Good point.
Right? I
Never
mean,
thought about it quite that way.
There wasn't one. Jesus didn't have an equal. You know, it's just like, hey, I get this guy. It's that he led with such love and showed us that example that was just absolutely profound. And I like what you're saying there, Alice, as well, is that in our relating, Jesus also shows us this way of that in the first chapter of John, he came in the fullness of grace and truth. So we lead with love, we lead with humility and kindness, but we don't shy away from truth. And we know that most of the time when we confront hard, damaging behaviors, that the most likely initial response we'll get is defense. But I think to not address it is to also be unloving in a way, because, I mean, my own life, as people have addressed me in my behaviors, and they got some defense back. It was like, it was that seed, or it was that glimmer of light that came back around and was like, oh no, they're right. And this is not to be ignored.
It's so true too, Chris, but man, wouldn't it be easy if everybody did what we wanted, or thought the way that we thought, or did life the way we did? I mean, it just would be, and we've got an epidemic of people who are squaring off in defense when we don't agree. Whether it's family, whether it's political, whether it's religious, whether it's you didn't park your car in the right way. I mean, there's a lot of easily offended people. And as believers, our biggest challenge is to love people right where they are. And like you said, Chris, if we can point out, if we have a relationship with them, we can point out, hey, this is what I'm noticing. I don't know if if this has occurred to you, but what's that about? Share with me, or help me understand. In this case, you could say, in a good conversation, help me understand, son, where you're going now. I know you got divorced. I know that was really hard. What is your hope and your plan for the future? Tell me about that. It's a little bit less offensive than saying, knock it off. Although
For sure.
That may be appropriate.
Absolutely.
We also have to surrender control of what a son like that, Sharon, decides to do. Because if we get into nagging, Bible thumping, or browbeating, it makes it almost impossible for him to receive the good truth and the love that you have to share with him. So I always say that in situations like this, we should speak that opposing truth at least once, and then be very cautious whether or not God is calling you to do it after that.
That's good. Yeah. And I always think, as you guys are saying, keeping the avenues of love open. And I think for us, for all of us, one of the signs of spiritual, emotional, relational maturity is the ability to receive hard feedback. And if we embrace the superpower of humility and allow our egos not to get in the way, but God's grace to get in the lead, in the driver's seat of that, that's where transformation can take on a whole new power and momentum and progress. And because I just think, and that's one of the things that is so remarkable about the rooms of recovery and our life recovery. is that in life recovery groups, we experience this thing called a positive Me Too moment. Is that when I hear Alice talk about her struggles, I can say, oh, mine may look different, but me too. And I can hear feedback from her courageous vulnerability and humility, as well as then I can enter into that as well. And it just takes one person to lead that, but it also could take a group to get into. If you're struggling with something and you want help, give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, to that call center. We have so many amazing intensives. If your marriage is really in a struggling place, check out our Intimacy in Marriage. It's coming up in Dallas, October 25th. A couple days away, October 11th is when our early bird expires. So get on it right now. The other thing I want to mention right now is that, Alice, you mentioned the Every Man's Battle podcast. If you want to hear an ongoing encouragement for maintaining a life marked by sexual integrity, check the podcast out. Again, that's Every Man's Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. It will definitely be a great resource for your road of integrity. And we're going to be back right after this.
When you give to the New Life Scholarship Fund, you're giving someone hope for a brighter future.
I was kind of in the closet and hit with my struggle. Your donation really made the difference, especially in my situation, because I ended up getting laid off from my job.
At the New Life Intensives, hurting people are able to begin a new path towards healing and freedom that has an effect on all of those around them.
I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. Their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To help hurting people to connect to the help they need, make your gift to the Scholarship Fund at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and specifying scholarships.
Someone called and sponsored me to come this weekend. Whoever that is, just know that you saved a life. Literally, you saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for your life and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We are so glad that you're with us today. We'd love to talk to you. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. And one of the things we like to do every now and then is we like to go back to the future, to a flashback call. And so Terry is going to queue up a flashback call for us today.
Mary from Boston, Massachusetts.
I'll get right to the point. I'm feeling anxious about increasing child support through a court order with my daughter's father.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I feel anxious is I don't know if I'm forcing him to take responsibility or if I should just tough it out and try to work with him outside of court.
Well, now, you say your daughter's father. Are you divorced, or what's the situation there?
We were never married. My daughter will be 18 in September.
Okay.
And I guess it looks like she's entitled to child support until she finishes college.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, it would end anything that he's spending.
Now, where does he live?
Texas.
Okay. All right. Well, why wouldn't you pursue that if you ask him and he doesn't want to step up and be responsible? Why wouldn't you pursue that through the system that takes care of problems like this?
Well, it's been years since I've had to go and do that, and I'm worried about him being retaliating or being vindictive, or
Is there a history of that?
Yeah, he's emotionally taken things out on my daughter to sort of get to me, and that's been really, really tough.
Mm-hmm.
So
when you say
court,
takes things out on her, what does he do?
He's critical towards her, or he'll come up here randomly and visit and leave without saying goodbye. Or
Well, at 18, she has some independence now and some protection of herself. I mean, she can get in the car and go away, or you can explain the situation. And at 18, she needs to be learning how to handle him anyway, if he's not, violent or anything.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
And now, Mary, what you're hoping for is that he'll continue to support her through college?
Yes, right now it's through an agency so that I don't have to deal with him directly.
Okay. Right.
And once this time comes, if I don't do anything about it, it would basically be up to him to even want to.
Well, you don't really. There's nothing you're going to lose in this thing by having the agency negotiate this. I would have them negotiate and say, in Massachusetts, this is the way it works. Are you willing to do that? And if he says no, then they say, well, then we'll just have to go to court.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do that. We really wish you'd reconsider and let the agency do it.
Right.
And I would talk to your daughter and say, okay, here's what we're doing now. And if this upsets him, you may have some repercussions with you and with me, but you just need to be prepared for it now. She's 18; she can handle it.
Yep.
And if she can't, she needs to learn how to handle it by now, I would think. So I would say go ahead and go for it.
Pursue what you're entitled to there. And there's a system that is set up for that. Let me send you a copy of Loving People. I hope that will be a blessing to you. And be sure that you're working on healing through whatever it is that you're going through.
Steve, justice is important.
It is, yeah.
God is a just God as well as a gracious God, and we need to be people who are pursuing justice.
Well, it's also modeling for her daughter that you go for what's right.
Right.
Yes.
Such a good call. It's always so good to hear the wisdom of the host that went before us.
You know what I was thinking though is it's so obvious to us as therapists, which I know that sounds. I mean, like we hear the story, but I think that when we can share our stories with somebody outside of ourselves, like you were saying before, it makes sense to somebody else. Well, of course you would do something, but what I was wondering about is if the mother doesn't feel empowered, it's not going to come naturally to the 18-year-old daughter to empower herself as, what her choices are. And so it's where do we learn these kind of behaviors? And it's just fascinating to me because to us it seems, well, duh, she needs to be able to get out of that trouble and she can advocate for herself. She has agency, but this is her dad. This is the voice that's been powerful in her mind, in her life, her whole 18 years. And I think that's a common misconception that all you have to do is this, and I loved what they said, justice. God is a God of justice, and we can help along that way.
Well, Becky, the other thing I thought of too was that it seemed that the answer was sitting right in front of her all along.
Right.
But fear creates a lot of fog.
Yes.
It creates so much confusion, second guessing, and the fear was his response, his anger. And I just thought about how powerful it is when we can depersonalize other people's negative reactions. When we can find the strength inside of ourselves for it to become less meaningful, even meaningless, so that we can move through the fear, the fog of fear, to get into the clarity of truth. Yeah.
That's so good. And finding that courage.
Yeah.
And you might need a few friends to help you with that courage, but man, that's a word right there.
Absolutely. If you're struggling with fear-driven things in your life today, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We'd love to provide more clarity for you. And like Becky, you said, sometimes it just takes talking to someone else about it. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We'll be right back.
I had been in porn addiction. My past had not been found out at all, yet I had hit a point in my life where it was time.
Men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The Every Man's Battle Intensive can help.
I never divulged what I'd been doing.
Find help today at New Life's Every Man's Battle Intensive.
This is a place that changed my life in such a positive way for Christ, because I could be the Christian man that I'm called to be.
Now the intensive is coming to Orange County, California, November 1st through the 3rd. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I cannot say enough what it does in the Christian community for not just men, for their children, for their wives.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. Again, we are so glad that you're with us today. We are also glad that Linda is with us today from Leeton, Pennsylvania, listening on WBYN. Linda, how's it going today?
Hi, I'm doing okay.
All right. Well, tell us about your okayness and also what's not okay in your life.
Thank you. I took care of my mother, and when my mother passed, and when we had the funeral, my mother-in-law came to my mom's funeral and never went home. She ended up living with us. And I've taken care of her. She was 91 at the time, and I took care of her for 7.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
My husband passed away 2 years ago suddenly.
Oh.
I won't go. It was probably his heart. I found him out in the yard early in the morning.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I continued to take care of my mother-in-law for the 2 more years, and never had any help. Nobody ever came and said, Linda, I'm coming over today and sitting with Mom and, go for groceries or go visit a friend. And then the end of November of 23, I had a very, very bad surgery. And I never really fully recovered from it. And I was struggling because I never really was able to grieve my husband, because any time my husband's death was mentioned, my mother-in-law would say, that was my son.
Yeah.
And February, I took her to Florida for 5 weeks. Her mind was very, very good.
Yeah.
But in February, I took her to Florida for 5 weeks, and down there, she started seeing things and hallucinating. And now she's 99 years old.
Mm.
And Linda, is she still in your home with you?
Yes, she was, yeah. And after I got home, when I was down in Florida, I called my 3 children, and she has a son in Arizona who called her one time in 7.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was to say he received his check for Christmas.
Oh, wow. Wow. So Linda, for time's sake, tell us what's happening now and how we can help.
What's happening now? In May, she was very, very hallucinating, but she was still very good reading her Bible faithfully. Yeah. But she was having issues with personal hygiene.
So Linda,
I ended up putting her in a nursing home.
Oh, okay. Was that down in Florida?
No, in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, okay.
I called my children in February and told them I'm really struggling. I don't think I could do this anymore.
Okay.
And it said, come home, and when we come home, we'll have a meeting and see what we're going to do.
Okay.
Well, the meeting never took place.
You have been so alone for decades in caring for your own mother and your mother-in-law. Linda, does it still today distress you that you had to put her into a nursing home?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I called them, the kids, in April, and I said, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I couldn't leave the house. My friends would call.
And so Linda,
I have to leave.
Yeah, Linda, let me jump in, okay? Because we really want to help you out right now. What's the question for us that we can help guide you in your current situation?
Okay, this is what happened as a result of putting my mother-in-law in the nursing home. My daughter never talked to me.
Oh, that ruptured relationship with your daughter. Oh, Linda, would you try giving us a question, maybe starting with how or what, and it probably is about the next steps to take now? What's your question today?
Well, I'll just finish this with one sentence before. My mother-in-law was in the home 2 weeks, caught pneumonia, and died.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And my daughter hasn't talked to me since.
Yeah.
Linda, you have compound grief, you have exhaustion, you've got it's a snowball effect that occurs. You've had so much duress. Your daughter not talking to you is hitting hard, but you did not do anything wrong. There was nothing wrong with what you did in order to care for your mother-in-law. And I know sometimes you're at a low point and you don't have the support that you need. It can feel like you're all isolated. How would you like it to be? If you could wave a magic wand and things were better, what would be different?
Well, I've been praying every day that God, that I could heal this relationship. I'll ask my daughter for I don't even know what it is she's mad about.
Right. Okay. So then the best way we can help you, Linda, is give you some next steps to try to bridge that gap. Now you can't guarantee that her response is going to be what you want at this point. She's also grieving the loss of her other grandmother. Alice, you are very good at 1, 2, 3s, and I'm pretty sure you're thinking along this line. But how can we help Linda get reconnected.
Well, Linda, I think the first step is going to surprise you, and it's going to sound very selfish and unrelated. And that is, you desperately need comfort, and you need to be heard about what you have been going through for all this time. And oddly enough, doing that, getting some focused help from a counselor, and we can connect you with one, that will help get you set up to figure out how to reconnect with your daughter, because you have stories that need to be told as you've been so isolated and alone for all these years. Once you receive some comfort, probably within a couple of sessions, then you'll be able to strategize, what do I do now to attempt to reconnect with my daughter? And looking back at further history with my daughter, when did things start to unravel? There probably are some earlier signs before you started the caregiving for your mother. We don't know what they are, but a counselor will be able to help you pinpoint what was happening in your daughter's life that moved her to distance herself, and what might have been happening within the family, the nuclear family, to cause some of that to happen. So by retelling these stories and by looking for those signs, it will be then a setup to reach out to your daughter to be able to say, I know some of these things happened and that was hurtful to you, and maybe I didn't know how to talk to you when your father passed away. I was busy caring for my mother-in-law, so it made it felt like I wasn't there for you. Things like that will then point to the truth that your daughter is probably carrying, and that gives us the best chance of helping her to open up with you in the future. But get your own comfort first, Linda.
Alice, I really like that, because I think that really good focused grief counseling can help bring more clarity to the relationship, as well as, most importantly, as you mentioned, give Linda the care and the support and the comfort that she needs. I also highly recommend, Linda, you check out a grief share group. So grief share is oftentimes offered in churches. And so I'm sure they have a website, and that is a group process. So you're not doing this alone, and you're not grieving alone. You're doing that with some really good spiritual guidance from other people. And then, again, as you said, Alice, then that allows you to re-engage in meaningful and productive conversations with your daughter. Yeah.
You have poured out your life for these years to the people you cared for, and your tank is empty. So we need to get you refilled so you have the courage and the strength to then face how to reconnect with your daughter.
So Linda, we're going to send you the Life Recovery Grief Workbook, and that'll just really help you along in your grief process. But getting connected to other people that can help you navigate the incredible losses that you've experienced is critically important at this point in your life. And our heart breaks for you. Our love is with you. Our prayers are with you. And Linda, thank you so much for calling in. Again, if you'd like to give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. And we'll be back right after this.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. So glad that you're with us today. We have mentioned at the very beginning of the show that there is this amazing resource called our call center. And if you are struggling or you need to get connected to one of our resources, give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Also, as I mentioned, that all of our ministries are crowdfunded, meaning that they are group funded by our financial partners. We would love for you to be a financial partner with us right now. Our world is hurting. Our anxieties, our depressions, our struggles, our fights against all of the types of addictions they become in some ways overwhelming, but we are not without hope because of what we see happen here at New Life on a daily basis. So join us in that. We'd love for you to financially partner with us. You can join our Club New Life program, which is incredibly helpful. In fact, there is a Zoom meeting with our Club New Life members coming up. We're really excited about that. That'll be in November. And you can just go to newlife.com and push that donate button, and that would be incredibly helpful. Right now, we're going to go to Vivian in Bend, Oregon, who listens on our app. Vivian, what's going on today?
Hello there. Well, thank you for the help you offer everyone. And I'm just in question about a situation in my home life. I've been married 30 years, and in January, I'll be turning 88. And I thought we didn't cry anymore after age 50.
Oh no, I'm so sorry to break this to you. I don't think that ends.
Oh, well, I'm bewildered. I have a husband who is addicted to Facebook and has made 858 friends or something, and I don't see it that way. I said, well, do you know where they live? Have they asked you to dinner? But 70% of them are females.
Oh, wow.
And he gets accolades from them, like he sent them his picture, you're handsome, and you say kind things, and blah, blah. And I don't want to say I'm jealous. I feel betrayed.
Yeah.
He's not living in the present. And I'm exasperated. This is my dilemma. And we have had conversation after conversation about how come it can't just be men or family that you're on Facebook with, or the people in our address book. Why do you keep accepting these single females? First of all, he said he wouldn't talk to any single ones. Well, that fell through. I'm sorry. I'm just blabbing.
Well,
I don't know what to do.
But yeah, Vivian, he keeps crossing boundaries over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
And the most disheartening thing or heartbreaking thing is that he is developing much stronger connections and relationship to an app or people in an app than he is to you. And that feels like the betrayal. Yeah.
And these relationships are emotionally inappropriate, at least. But of course, you're concerned about how far is this going? Are these emotional affairs? And I wonder, has your husband ever struggled with pornography or with affairs in the past?
No, he has not. No, he is a pastor's son. He's true blue to the Word of God. And I could say that for him. We have been true to each other, that I call this emotional cheating. And he doesn't see it that way and won't even read an article of what emotional cheating is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Vivian, he may be a man of God and may read his Bible and still have a problem with pornography somewhere along the way. Just want to clarify that. The big thing is that this is an issue for you. Like it doesn't matter how he rationalizes it, you're not okay with it. And so, to be able to be heard is the most important thing right now. Like you said, Chris, this is an app. This isn't real connections. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who are pretending to be female, young, single, that are not any of the above. And that is the dangerous part of this kind of connection. Would he be willing to talk with a therapist? Like, would you guys be able to talk to a counselor together?
Yes, he went to the pastor, and the pastor had recommended a fella in town, and he's $200 an hour, and we don't have insurance to cover it. And I'm sitting in a commodities food line right now. In fact, I'm almost to the point where I park the car and walk in, so I may have to cut this conversation short. Sorry about
Vivian,
the timing.
We'll give you some next steps. There's a lot of help available that is not $200 an hour, but you need to do some next steps. Chris, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I think that we may be able to connect you with a counselor that is maybe a little bit more affordable. The other thing, too, is I was just thinking we need an intimacy and marriage weekend in Dallas. If you can drive there, find a way to get there. We have scholarships available, and we would not want you and your husband to miss out on this. Vivian, we need continuing to express your voice. And real quickly, how old is your husband?
82.
Okay. And to that point that, Becky was making, is that there is a lot of predatorial behavior online targeting men that are really, at the end of the day, looking for money. And so you want to be careful about that, want to educate that, but there's something going on in him, something going on in the marriage underneath the surface that has to be looked at. And so we want to connect you with resources to help you guys figure that out.
And Vivian, I'd have you try telling your husband, pointing out that you appreciate his faith, you appreciate his love for God, his dedication to the Word, but that there's a wedge between us right now, husband, and I cannot get close to you as long as this wedge continues. So as you've determined that you're going to keep these friendships on Facebook, I'm not able to share my heart with you in the way that I want to. It's not working for me. So I need us to keep getting help, to seeking out affordable help and not stop until we get it. But if you won't, or you continue these friendships, then I have to step back to protect my heart. And Vivian, you'll have to consider, if your husband will not stop, which he hasn't yet, what sort of boundaries, limits, and space you'll have to put between you and him, because your heart keeps getting battered as you stay in too close of a relationship with him while he's choosing a level of infidelity online. And what we're proposing is not at all easy to implement. And so that's why we want you to be connected with a counselor who can help walk you through and get the courage to have these kinds of conversations with him, and then to take that step back to get the heart protection that you need.
Absolutely. That's really, really important. That's into your point of being able to find the strength to set the boundaries. Vivian, we are going to send you a copy of the book, How We Love, and I believe there's some real illuminating truths in that will help you understand what is happening inside of you, what's happening inside of your marriage, and solution to greater connection with you and your husband. Thank you so much for calling in today. Thank you all for being with us today. Again, if you are struggling with something, and you hear us on air, give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We'd love to take your call. If you're waiting online right now, we're going to another show, and so please stay with us. We'd love to get to your call in the next program. For everyone out there, take very good care of yourself. Be well, and once again, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.